Good morning, everybody. Let me begin first and foremost by saluting all our speakers today who have given us a very strong and positive message on the need for unity, on the need to be each other's keeper, and what great progress and prosperity can come where we only need to live up to those basic, simple words. If we truly can practice, and I said this before, if we truly can practice these simple words, what a great country Kenya would be. So let me say that it's again a pleasure to be with you again today, to join you in this year's prayer breakfast, and take the opportunity to remind this audience of the very first prayer breakfast that I attended shortly after I took office. And the theme that I sounded then, which was the theme of gratitude, Psalm 136:26, that requires us to give thanks to God of heaven, for his steadfast love endures forever. This year's prayer breakfast falls also at a good time. In a few days, we will be celebrating our Madaraka, and in a few weeks, we will be holding a general election. Indeed, as we celebrate Madaraka, it is easy to take our self-rule for granted. And it is even easier for us to forget two things: the sacrifice that our fathers made to win that self-government for us, and also the grace of God which has brought us through half a century of both struggle and triumph. Indeed, we can say we have triumphed, because if we look around us, there are definitely more schools and more hospitals than our fathers could ever have dreamed of. Kenyans today live longer than the generation which celebrated the first Madaraka Day. Fewer of our mothers die in childbirth. Many more of our elderly live in dignity, befitting their years of labor. And it is definitely much easier to get around the country now than it was even a few years ago. These are achievements, but we also know that all our achievements are in the end God's blessings. For although God does not bless those who don't work, even those who do work should remember the words in Ephesians 2:8, that this is not your own doing, it is really a gift from God. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe there's much for us to be thankful for. And I want to repeat the words which I began with, that we give thanks to the God of heaven, for his steadfast love endures forever. I believe God loves this country. God has blessed this country, and we owe him our praise and thanks. And I say so, I emphasize the point for two reasons. First, there are some of us who have forgotten the duty of gratitude. And second, there are some of us who have also become complacent. Some of us, unfortunately, but true, cannot see the advances we have made, nor will they give thanks for the achievements that God's guidance has made possible. And today I want to reach out to them and to remind them of our duty of gratitude. We ought to first and foremost thank God for the distance he has brought us. And second, we also have a duty of gratitude to the generations that came before us, those who fought for independence, the campaigners for democracy in the 90s, the thousands upon thousands of public servants who keep us safe, the churches, temples, and mosques, which have been such important teachers of the moral truth throughout our history. Indeed, from my vantage point as president, I have come to a new appreciation of the power of example, and never more so than the example of the Church in the guidance of Kenyan affairs. Indeed, we used to hear sometimes a saying that said that an error was a truth pushed too far. And indeed, so it is with those who are ungrateful. They can see what is wrong about Kenya, but they mistake what is wrong to mean the whole. That is an opposite error. There are those who see what is right also about Kenya, but they too mistake it for the whole. Because we have to also admit, ladies and gentlemen, that we have sometimes fallen short of God's law and word. Kenya still has difficulties with corruption, and we still have difficulties with leadership. We are still divided amongst ourselves. We are still divided by religion, by ethnicity, by gender, by region. And as much as these divisions are not of our generation's making, these are problems that we have inherited. But even though our own making, they are most certainly ours to solve. And solve them we will. And I believe the first step is prayer. And I hold in mind the words, again, of Psalm 133:1, how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. The second step is for us to recognize that our diversity is also part of God's plan. Indeed, I was reminded earlier of a verse in the Quran, O mankind, we created you from a male and a female and made you into tribes and nations that you may get to know each other. End of quote. There is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with our diversity. But our goal, as has been stated today severally, must be unity. Of course, again, this is not the place to go into much detail, but rather our purpose today is to consider the broad principles which govern unity and to see whether we have lived up to them. And if we haven't, then fraternal correction is in order. Where we have lived up to them, fraternal congratulations are appropriate. We will have more to say to each other about this day, especially in the weeks to come. And today I just want to close my remarks with a word or two on the election. We give thanks to God for the opportunity to choose our leaders freely. And we must never forget that this is a very precious gift. And a gift that we cannot take for granted because there are some who have never learned to enjoy it. We are prepared for a free and fair election. But as you know, it is not just a matter of a government being prepared, but for every single Kenyan, and most especially for all the Kenyan leaders, not least amongst them our spiritual leaders. Let us work together with the theme of today: love, peace, and unity. We have no other country but Kenya. Regardless of who wins, this nation must and will endure. And we need to walk that journey, be able to exercise our free and democratic right to choose our leaders, but also preach peace, preach unity. For Kenya will be here long, long, long after many of us are gone. We need to recognize that. We need to work towards that. May God bless you all, and may God bless Kenya. Thank you very much.